What's up, everybody? I'm out here for another week. You know what? I forgot to edit last week's video, so I'm gonna do that tonight. But so it's gonna be a really good day, especially compared to how the week was earlier. Gonna be about mid-60s, not much wind. Looking forward to that because earlier this week there was a big storm throughout basically the whole country, and I was off work and I wanted to go somewhere, but man, it's like windy and cold everywhere, so I just stayed put. I did a day trip out to Carlsbad Caverns, which was pretty awesome. A lot better than I expected, actually. So if you're ever in the area, go check that out. It's pretty amazing down there. You get to go out there. Looks like any old part of the desert. Never would expect a huge cave to be down there. It's pretty cool. There's a part of the trail to begin with when you're going down into the cave. It's like really steep with a lot of switchbacks. And I was like, they should have like a little bike race out here. But anyway, gonna be a good day. Let's do it. All right, guys. So I have a question for you. What does riding your bike mean to you? And that's a very simple question, right? But often the simple questions don't have a simple answer. Like, what's the meaning of life? And it's the same thing with riding your bike. Like, what's the meaning of riding your bike? You need to answer that question so you know what you're doing. And if you're like me, I mean, you've had different answers throughout your life. Like when I first started riding my bike, it was all about speed. Like I wanted to race, wanted to be as fast as I could, and so you sort of structure your rides around that. You know, you make a training plan, you follow it, and that's why you're riding, to be the fastest person you can be. And you know, for me, it was never very fast. And so you move on, and then you know, maybe how far can you go, how high can you climb, you know, how consistent can you be, how many centuries can you do in a year, whatever it is. And you sort of structure your year around that. So similar, like, what is the meaning of life? Okay, for me, and I'm sure people will disagree, but the meaning of life for me is just to enjoy it as much as you can while you're here, you know, without hampering anyone else's ability to enjoy their own life. And that's kind of how I structure my life, you know. Once you have that meaning, you put your pieces in place around it. So, you know, I moved out here coming up on 5 years ago, and just because there was cheap housing out here, I was able to own my house and be 100% debt free and just enjoy life. You know, I've never put career first, and I never will. So, you know, other people may have a different meaning of what life is to them. Maybe, you know, making money is a game and you want to make the most money you can, and you're sort of trying to win that game. It seems like people do that, but that's never been on my radar. But anyway, back to the bike. What is the meaning of riding your bike? And right now for me, it's like I'm all about trying to chase a goal. So like this year, I want to do this summer to ride all 50 states in 50 days. And that's sort of what I'm structuring a whole year around. It gives me something to do, and that's what I'm out here for, because I want experiences. I want to get as many experiences as I can before I die, which, you know, could be a while, maybe not. I'm almost 40, so it's probably not that long, let's be honest. But you know, just try to do the most you can. So I'm out here, gonna do this ride today, gonna do another one tomorrow as a back-to-back, and really I should do 3 because I'm off the next day too, but we'll see how it goes tomorrow. But and I like to know other people's goals because you can steal them sometimes. But you know, after this year, once I got the United States out of my system, I want to try to focus on some more international type stuff. I know you used to be able to, there were tour groups that offered this. You could ride the whole Tour de France route ahead of the riders. I think that would be awesome, fun thing to do. And you know, I just like to ride across stuff, so there are different countries or continents that I would love to ride across. I'd love to ride across Australia. I'd like to ride across Canada. Obviously, these are two like not ideal at the moment, but you know, once everything settles down, if it ever does, I'd like to put that back on my wish list. So let me know what kind of stuff you have goals of doing and when you're gonna do it. Well, let's do it, man. All right, so I guess I'm just gonna talk this whole video. It'll be a different kind of video, but check it out. We have the Oregon mountains over here, nice road up ahead, and I'm telling you what, New Mexico is a vastly underrated state to ride in, especially where I live. Like, it's warm enough to ride all year long, and it doesn't really get too hot in the summertime. And you see this nice big shoulder here? Yeah, I have that to the north, to the west, and to the south. You know, I can do a whole century. Once I get out of town, I can do a whole century on shoulders. And then if I want to climb, head to the east. I've got a 14-mile 5%er right in the backyard. So it's a wonderful place. And even the whole state is awesome, man. The north, it's beautiful. It gets colder up there, but it's beautiful. Tons of mountains up there. Got a truck coming behind me. But yeah, most of the highways have shoulders, and you know, most of the state except for Albuquerque, there's not much population, so great place. Come out and ride. If you've never been here, you're missing out. Don't overlook it, man. Come and ride. You'll see.
Re-recording some audio because there was just too much wind noise. So I was talking about my ride later this year, which I have named BEST, and that's BEST, which stands for Bike Every State Tour, because every good ride needs a name, and that's just the best I could come up with. So it starts on September 1st. It's 50 states in 50 days, and I'm starting in Alaska. So I start in Alaska, fly to Seattle, and then from Seattle make my way towards Lake Michigan, basically driving in a little bit of a zigzag pattern to pick up all the states I can along the way. And from the Great Lakes area, I'm heading east towards the southwest very bottom corner of Maine, and then I go south from there, hitting those little New England states, making my way towards the panhandle of Florida, and then I head northwest to the area of Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and from there it's pretty much straight west towards Las Vegas. So I'm going to hit Las Vegas on day 48, and from there what I plan on doing is just drive straight across the border, which isn't too far, to California, and then ride in California, and then I'll head straight back to Las Vegas for a flight the next day from Las Vegas to Hawaii. So starts on September 1st, and I picked that date, but I didn't really pick the date because that's all that I could fit into my schedule. So the date was set, and therefore it made the most sense to start in Alaska. So try to get the best weather I can in Alaska, and then I'll go to Seattle, head to lower 48, and then fly to Hawaii at the end. So I kind of played around with the idea of maybe doing Alaska and then flying straight from Alaska to Hawaii. But I decided not to do that and to keep Hawaii at the end, basically for something to look forward to. You know, towards the end I'll be thinking of sitting on the beach doing nothing, and hopefully that will keep me going. So, you know, another benefit of doing the route this way is that it stays more towards the north in September. So, you know, hopefully I can do all that before it gets too cold. And then by the time October comes, I'll be in the south and southwest. So it shouldn't be too cold there. It should be nice and pleasant. Obviously, you can never predict the weather, but it gives me the best chance. I do have my travel bike, so I'm just going to take the travel bike to Alaska and Hawaii, and that'll also serve as my backup bike for the lower 48. So, you know, if it gets lost or damaged or whatever, it won't absolutely kill me because there are bike rentals in Alaska and Hawaii. But I didn't want to rely on bike rentals because, you know, there's not so much time to go to the place to pick the bike up and to go back and drop it off. So I do have the bike that I'm going to fly with me, which I bought a while ago before they waived bike fees on a lot of the airlines. So That wasn't great timing. But anyway, so the route is sort of a backward C, and I guess I'll post that on the screen right now. So that's the driving route, and talking a lot about driving, but this is about riding a bike, right? So I have picked out my individual routes in all of the 50 states. A rough outline. I haven't done exactly every single route down to every single every single waypoint, but I've got the basic idea in place for all of them. I have multiple options in a lot of the states, so if there's like a big headwind coming from one direction, I can plan the route accordingly. But there is this thing that you have to do planning something like this, is that you can't ride the absolute best area in all of the 50 states, or the driving will just get out of control. So there's a little bit of a balance between, okay, what are some good areas to ride, yet still keeping the driving distance reasonable, because at the end, it is a little over 7,600 miles, and that averages a little under 3 hours per day. And the worst of that is in the first 8 days, because it goes like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, stuff like that for the first 8 days. But at that point, I'll still be fresh, and hopefully not too bad for there. And then towards the middle, when the states get smaller, the driving distance shrinks down a little bit of a break, until, towards the end of the ride, end of the tour, I should say, when the states get bigger and the driving gets longer. So the driving is also sort of broken up a little bit, which is another benefit of the route overall. But like I was saying, there's a balance you strike between trying to keep the driving reasonable and riding in some good riding areas. So if you would look at some examples, like let's say Nevada, because I used to live there. I'm going to be doing my ride in Las Vegas, right? Which actually is an underrated part of the state to ride in, because you have the Red Rocks area, you have Mount Charleston, you have the Lake Mead area. It's a pretty good place to ride, actually. But if you wanted to pick the absolute best place to ride in Nevada, you're going to pick Reno. And yes, I'm biased because I lived there for a while and absolutely loved it. But you could say the same for California. Like, I'm just basically barely scooting into California, and I'm going to ride there. But if you wanted to pick the absolute best place to ride in California, that's not where you would pick. I would probably pick Markleeville. I know some people might pick somewhere else, but that's what I would do. So you can't hit the absolute best area in each state, because if you think about Nevada, for example, there's an 8-hour difference between Las Vegas and Reno, so can't necessarily do that. So anyway, I have the individual routes pretty much for every single state. I think there are 1 or 2 that I haven't planned out yet, but I'm going to do that pretty soon. Yeah, so I have a lot of it planned out. There's about 6 months to go at this point, and it's all about training, so that's good. I don't want to have to worry about stuff too much. I guess the main thing I need to worry about now is basically the transportation situation. So my car is a Kia Soul, and I removed the back seats, and I have like a flat platform back there with a little bike rack in there, and it's really great for just me, but I'm hoping that someone can drive me so I don't have to drive myself, and it's not going to work too great for that. And another bad thing about my car is it's a stick, and not everybody knows how to drive those either. But on the plus side, I can tow a trailer with it, so in an ideal world, I could maybe work something out. If I have to end up driving myself, then it's going to work. But otherwise, I might have to either rent a car or get a different car. And obviously, right now, it's not a good time to be car shopping if you've looked at prices recently. So that's probably the biggest hurdle to overcome, is what's going to happen there. But I still have 6 months to figure it out, which is plenty of time, I would hope. And man, I'm just really looking forward to this. It's like an obsession at this point. It's all I can think about because there's so much planning involved with it, with all the driving, where you're going to stay, and the training and everything. It's great. It's giving me some purpose when I'm out there training. It's giving me a distraction from the unfulfilling nature of my work. And I just can't wait to get out there and ride and just ride for 50 days. It's going to be awesome. So that's it for now. Stay tuned on that.
All right, that's it for another week. It was a good day, man. Sunny, not too much wind. Made pretty good time, and I'll be out here tomorrow on Monday to do it all again. It'll be the last day of the month. March is right around the corner, and I'm pretty excited. Hopefully that means good weather is here to stay. See you next time.